My previous video on this vise was made after staying up till 2 in the morning, finishing it up. Actually, not even finishing it. It didn't have the piece of wood above the gear housing that you see right here. So I want to finish it up, get it to its finished state in the workbench, and then also answer some questions that were left open by my short and rather incomplete video. So you see here I worked the dog holes into the new vise. I'm just going to sand it, get a little bit of finish on it, pretty it all up, and put this piece of gripping material that I will be selling with the vise, by the way, on so that I get a good hold on workpieces. And since I didn't explicitly explain how the gears are working, I thought I would do that. So when the handle is forward, the front center gear transmits power to the front mid gears, the larger ones on either side of it, and then to the outside gears that are coupled to the screws. So you have essentially the big gears actually don't matter. The small gear and the outside gear relative sizes are the only ones that affect the handle speed versus screw speed. And since the center gear is smaller, the screws are turning slower than the handle. Now this is not actually slower than a standard vise because they're two flight screws, so they travel twice as far for every turn. So it's actually a little bit faster even in low speed as compared to a standard Acme threaded twin screw vise, but it's a lot slower than what happens when you push the handle forward and the center gear is coupled to the back center gear, which is larger, and then that transmits power through the two gears that are the mid gear assembly and then finally to the outer gears. So when this is all said and done, it's about 2 to 1. One turn of the handle means 2 turns of the threaded rods, which are, as I mentioned, two flighted threaded rods. So you're traveling about 4 times, actually a little bit faster than 4 times as fast as a standard device. It's moving pretty quick. All right, next I've got some questions to answer. So lots of people said that they wanted the clear acrylic front for the vise instead of the steel one. And I understand that. It's a cool thing to look at, the symmetric gears moving around. I enjoy it. Now, I don't think the acrylic will age very well as far as scratches and even showing dust. And also, you know, the structural strength of this does play a minor role in how well the gears work. This it seems to be working fine, so it seems adequate. Long story short, I might sell it as an optional accessory. Even if I don't, it's the easiest thing in the world to make. You just buy a piece of acrylic and use the steel front that comes with it as a template to drill the holes and countersink them. I mean, I made this in, I don't even think it was half an hour. So even if I don't sell it, it's an easy thing to make. So we'll see. Now, another common question was, why do you need 2 speeds? Why not just have the fast speed, the turbo speed, and just use that all the time? There is a trade-off with high speed. When you change the gear ratio to increase the speed, you decrease the clamping force, just the way mechanical advantage works. So I picked 2 speeds, one where the speed is kind of inadequate, but the clamping force is excellent, and another where the clamping force is not quite adequate, but the speed is excellent. So you can switch between depending on what you need to do. So this is clamping in high speed. That was pretty light pressure. Able to move it, okay. So let's stay in high speed and give it a little bit more. That's probably adequate. Maybe it does work. Okay, so for a long piece like this, it works. Sometimes you're clamping like this, you need a little bit more force. I'm tugging on that as hard as I would be comfortable with. And I can move that a bit. In low speed, I'm going to tug as hard as I'm comfortable with. You see I got another 10-15 degrees out of it, you definitely get a tighter clamping force. So I'd say for most operations, maybe you can just leave it in turbo to stay in high speed, zipping around. But every once in a while, you're going to want to give it a little bit more. And for that, you can put it into low speed and give it a little bit extra without feeling like you're tugging on this thing too hard and stressing the internals. I could try to pick a speed in between where clamping force is probably okay and speed's probably okay. That would simplify things a little. I'd say, maybe $30 cheaper on a, overall, if I was to pick an intermediate compromise speed. I think I like the 2 speeds better. I think it's worth the extra $30. If everyone screams in the comment section that no, we give us the $30 off and just pick one compromise speed, maybe I'll think about it. But for right now, I'm going with the 2 speeds, one that's excellent for clamping and one that's excellent for speed. Now, the most common question I got was price. How much is this going to cost? And I don't have this exactly pinned down yet, but I'm going to try to keep it similar to the Lie-Nielsen Lee Valley chain couple twin screw vise. So the Lee Valley or the Veritas is $250. The Lie-Nielsen is $280 without the handle. Neither of those come with the grippy material, which I'm going to be including. So I'm going to try to stay there. Mid to high 200s, really going to try to keep it under $300. That is absolutely the best I can do. And even at those prices, I might not be able to do a retail deal, because with that retailer getting a cut, then it cuts into the profits and you have to price things higher versus what your manufacturing costs are. So direct sales is really the only possible way I can even get it that cheap, because there's a lot going on here. Machined parts, laser cut parts. It's not an easy thing to try to get to that price point. So I really am trying. And some people have asked, what is the distance between the screws? This size is one of 3 that I plan to sell. And this one is 20 inch between the 2 screws. The overall bench needs to be a little bigger than 24 inches in order to accommodate the body of the vise. I'm planning on doing 2 more. One, a larger 24 inch for people that want that full 24 inch. That seems to be kind of the industry standard for the biggest twin screw vise that anyone would want. And then another 14 inch that could either be an end vise on a smaller bench or a non-racking front vise, which is how I'm going to use it on the other side of this bench. So 3 versions, 24 inch, 20 inch, and 14 inch on the spacing between the screws. Each of them with the same gear assembly for the low and high speed. All right, so aside from just the obvious advantage, the speed, I did want to talk about a few other things about this design that I really like and I'm really excited about. First, I'm not going to get into too much, but it's just this material that you saw me put on in the beginning of this video. I've tested a bunch of different materials, and this is better as far as increasing the grip strength, better than anything else I've found. And I've had it on for quite a while now, so I'm confident in how it wears. And so just including that with the vise, I think, is a really cool thing. I don't think anybody else includes that material with the vise. Some sell it as an add-on, but this is better than anything I could find, and I'm just going to sell it with the vise. It's just something that makes a big difference for how any vise performs. And I'm also going to sell it separately. So if you already have a vise that you like and you're just not in the market for a vise, you can still pick up some of the cork rubber material, increase the performance of what you have, and support me and all that good stuff. Okay, on to the next cool feature. So with most vices, if you get them open pretty far, they start to drop down quite a bit. And this one just doesn't do that. I have a separate bushing and nut that can be spaced pretty far apart. That makes for a smooth operation, but it also really holds the front jaw up so that there's, almost no dropping of the vise. So a nice performance advantage with that bushing and nut separated. And the last thing that I like about this is the symmetry of it with the handle in the center and the fact that since it has a transmission, it necessarily has a neutral where nothing's happening. Center gear is just in between the two sets of, you get it. And that's kind of nice because clamp something up and you end up in this position. And especially if you're going to clamp and unclamp the same thickness a whole bunch of times, it's kind of nice to have this a little bit more out of the way in an at-rest position. So you can just pop it into neutral, and now you're always in your, I guess, 6 o'clock position for your at-rest when you're clamped. Just kind of a nice little extra bonus that the design comes with. So that's the vise. Again, plan is to do a pre-sale, raise some funds, try to place an order for enough of these that I can actually make it at a price point that I can make a little bit of money. This is not going to make me rich. I don't think I'm going to sell enough of these to make all that big a difference in even my tiny little business profits. It's not really about that. It's more about an idea that's just kind of been in my head for a long time, and a dissatisfaction with what's on the market as far as twin screw vices and a desire to change that. So wish me luck, and more to come soon. Now it's time to show you my saw blade again.